After moving to my first post in Asia, I was motivated, eager to start a new chapter in my life and learn new things. I felt good about myself, and I even cut out smoking completely for almost 8 months, going from a full-on chimney to cold turkey. Things were going well, but unfortunately, my health issues had not gone away. I was still having the same severe allergic reactions and was physically spent. This time, however, I had my brain power intact, so I went to seek professional advice. Appointment after appointment, and the results came out all the same. According to the doctors, I was in perfect physical health. There was absolutely nothing wrong with me. I left every time with painkillers and antihistamines for allergies, which didn't work. I even had an allergy test done with no conclusive results. With zero clear explanation and weed out of the picture, I blamed it all on an acute sensitivity to pollution and dust. I therefore accepted my fate as it was. What could I do? If the doctors say you're fine, then they must be right. Right? Living in Asia, though, I started to have a sense of direction. But I still held on to one big fear: losing my job. Losing my job meant that I would need to go back to France. So where did this stem from? At this point in my life, I didn't believe in myself. I didn't see myself as a valuable asset to the company yet. And I didn't think I was good enough, which of course shot my confidence to hell. At my level, it wasn't common practice to continue on the same property once your contract was up. And since I wasn't at a director role yet, finding a good placement was going to be a challenge. I didn't want to settle for lower pay or accept less interesting packages, so to get close to the perfect position as possible, I would need to stand out against my competition. I therefore decided to take a very serious approach to the work I was doing and imposed strict discipline on myself, prioritizing work far, far above my personal health. I pushed myself to achieve more and more and more. On one hand, I had a good motivation to excel in my career, but on the other hand, this had a profound effect, an adverse effect on my stress levels and overall health. I was slowly but surely driving myself to the ground once again. When I was in Thailand, I became ill with dengue fever. Now, if you don't know what dengue fever, it's a potentially deadly virus carried by mosquitoes. And because I wasn't in best physical shape, I contracted the dengue virus, and for 4 days, when symptoms first appeared, I did absolutely nothing. I just kept working. I didn't know what I had, but as per usual, I told myself, it's okay. It'll pass, I'll feel better tomorrow. So I continued to work despite the fever that was raging inside my body. It got to the point where I couldn't even get out of bed. I literally had to be carried to the emergency room where doctors quickly diagnosed me with type 3 dengue fever. And just so you know, type 4 is the highest. I was hospitalized for 5 days before the doctors deemed me well enough to be released. And at the end of my release, I had lost over 5 kilos. By not reacting quickly enough, I had chanced death, and that happened in my first 6 months in Asia. So as you can see, I was off to a great start. Over the course of the year and a half that followed, I also had to deal with severe pneumonia. And once again, it took me a week before I took my chronic cough seriously. I was sick with pneumonia for over 3 months. Over the course of this time, I also sprained my ankles several times and also had surgeries on my ligament for my wrists and the crucial ligaments on one of my knees. And once again, I didn't take care of myself. I neglected to re-educate both ligaments properly and went right back to work after the surgeries. But the worst thing that happened to me and what led me to create this course had yet to come. On Vietnamese New Year Day in early 2017, I went to the hospital yet again, this time for an intestinal infection. I took my medicine as instructed, but the pain did not subside. Instead, it moved to my stomach. And as it turned out, I had developed 2 peptic ulcers, which were both quite advanced. Now, there are different kinds of ulcers, but in a general sense, ulcers form when a bacteria eats away your organs and create holes in them. It starts out small and gradually gets bigger and bigger to the point in which they become pretty painful. On top of that, this kind of bacteria actually loves it when you eat poorly, drink alcohol, take drugs, smoke, and pretty much any activity that increases the acidity in your stomach. The bacteria lives and thrives off of your multiple bad habits. To top it off, stress and anxiety make also symptoms worse, increasing the spread of the affected area quickly and increasing the acidity levels in the stomach as well. So after doing the tests, I asked the doctor, how bad is it? In a nutshell, it was pretty damn serious. The doctor was even surprised I didn't come in sooner. Again, another instance of the lack of attention I pay to myself. Now, ulcers are a pretty gross looking thing, but if you're daring enough to see mine, feel free to click on the link below the video. In the medical world, ulcers are a pretty common thing, and the bacteria itself can be eliminated fairly quickly. But it wasn't the bacteria that was the problem. It was the massive holes they left behind. Once I got rid of the bacteria with antibiotics for about 2 months, I needed to heal both wounds that were left. And that's usually where people run into some issues, because this takes a very long time. And if not taken seriously, can drag on for a while. Mine had done quite a bit of damage, so patience would need to be my best friend. If you want to get over an ulcer quickly, if there's such a thing, you need to change basically everything about yourself. You need to adjust your lifestyle completely. A full-on makeover, if you will. And that's the reason why people struggle. And I'll tell you one thing. When you're at the head of a department, managing 180 people and expected to show real sales result in a tough business environment, well, let's just say your seat becomes very hot and work is constantly on your mind. For me, it was the first time in my life to have such a position, and the fear of losing my job, well, it had reached an all-time high. So my stress levels were through the roof and not helping me one bit to get over my ulcer. As a result, I needed to review how I handle my stress, take a massive chill pill, and most of all, completely change my eating habits while handling the pressure. The list of things to avoid was seemingly endless. No worry, no stress, no alcohol at all, no salt, no sugar, no fats, no dairy, no red meat, no smoking, no coffee, no tea, no chocolate, no candy, no chips, no junk food, no acidic veggies, and no acidic fruits. You get the picture. Basically, all the good stuff. I felt like a kid in a candy store with my parents telling me I couldn't have any of it. Which brings me to my final and very important lesson of this video, which is to always, always, always make yourself the priority. No matter how important other things may seem or how busy you are, don't wait until the very last minute to take care of yourself. Please do not make the same mistakes I did. By not putting myself over my stress-riddled job, I had destroyed my health at a very serious level in a very short amount of time. Therefore, your health is 1,000,000 times more important than your work or anything else around it. No matter how important other things may seem or how busy you are, don't wait until the very last minute to take care of yourself. Please do not make the same mistakes I did. By not putting myself over my stress-riddled jobs, I had destroyed my health at a very serious level and in a very short amount of time. Your health is 1,000,000 times more important than your work or anything else out there. You may be a multi-billionaire and have everything you want, but if you don't have your health, then none of that money really matters anymore. To be honest, I might shock you when I say this, but in retrospect, as bad as it may seem, those ulcers were probably the best thing that happened to me, because it forced me to change my self-destructive ways and really pay attention to my lifestyle. And by making gradual changes, I was feeling better and better. Now, I'm in the best shape of my entire life. and I had to wait until I was 30 to feel this way. I noticed drastic improvements in my muscle mass and my physical gains just by changing my diet and paying attention to what I was feeding myself. Finished are the days when I just don't remember what I'm doing, or when I arrive in a room and I just forgot why I got there. I kissed my stomach bloating and acid reflux goodbye. I woke up daily with no sense of fatigue. And I even don't have a hangover on the days that I drink anymore. And best of all, those chronic allergies I was suffering from, all gone. Not even one single doctor was able to help me. But by applying the fundamental elements, which you will learn in this course, and which you actually have already been learning, I was able to completely change and turn around my overall health and energy. In fact, that feeling of greatness and pure awesomeness grew so strong that I decided to dig deeper and show people that by adjusting certain things in the way they lived, they could seriously improve themselves overall. But the thing is, when you're surrounded by alcoholics and drug users, it's not easy to convince them. And frankly, they don't care, because they're all as stubborn as hell. But really, when you can't drink, party, and do all the stupid shit, well, let's just say that it actually gives you the time to focus on something else. And this is what I did. I set out myself on a mission to create and build something that could help people in the same situation I had been, or people who just wanted to improve themselves. And I knew that there were others like me out there, because sadly enough, I started seeing many more cases around me in my circle of friends. I even had a case once where a client at the hotel I'm working at was rushed to the hospital because he had a bleeding organ related from an ulcer, a really bad sign that this has gone too far. So, once again, the main message here is this: do not be afraid of changing. Without change, our society would not be where it is today. And without change, you would not be here watching me. And if there's one thing that we've learned in the 3 videos, is that by choosing your priorities wisely, that's lesson number 1, and working hard to achieve them, not only will they pay off, that's lesson number 2, but you will achieve much more than anything else you've ever achieved in your life. And this all boils down to taking care of yourself and making yourself the priority. That's lesson number 3. So as we say in French, et voilà. Now you know everything about me, my background story, the reason why I created this course, and why I choose to feel and live the way I do. You have already finished the very first part of the course, and for that, congrats. Piece of cake, right? Not that hard. In the second part, we will prepare you mentally for the course to come, so that you start off with a solid base. We will also dig deeper into well-being in modern society and outline the core elements which define physical and mental energy. Get ready to be transformed in the next section.